We're going to dive right into the history of oil, and the reason the history is so important is you're going to see that the industry took shape very quickly. So what I've got is chapter 1 from the prize in a PDF form in D2L that I would like you to read, and that's going to give you the story of the basic drilling of the first oil well and how the oil market was created. And also, there's an excellent video series built on the book, The Prize, and you'll see I have the link at the bottom of the slide that shows you the first episode or the first recording or segment of that incredible video book as a whole, and you see the specific period that I want you to watch the video for the information. By all means, feel welcome to watch all of the video, the prize, and there, like I said, there are 8 parts to it, so about 8 hours total viewing time, because it's all great information, but I'm trying to distill it down to the essentials. Now, as you read the book chapter and you watch the video, I want you to pay attention for these particular men's names and the roles they played. Bissell, excuse me, Townsend, and Colonel, quote unquote, Colonel Drake. I want you to look at what it took in terms of investment to get the well going, and I want you to see how the investors fared during the process. Pay attention to the timing of the drilling of the first well, and then also what was the market for oil when it was first drilled for, and then pay attention to what happened right after the first successful well was drilled. I'd like you to stop listening to the video now and pause and read the book chapter I'd recommend first, and then watch the video. Okay, I trust that you've enjoyed the reading and the video now. Let me just do a little bit of a summary. The reason that I wanted you to read this material and watch the video is because you see that really from 1855 to 1870, the oil industry in large sense was formed. You see on the chart where the oil, where that oil was found. So it's in the hills of western Pennsylvania. That's going to be significant when we talk about refinery. But you can see that they added the exploration and production. That was what Colonel Drake took care of. They already had the refining facilities in the sense that they knew how to refine petroleum to create the kerosene. And then you also see the discovery of the development of the midstream industry. You see how initially the Teamsters had the right to carry the oil out in wagons, and that became unsatisfactory, and they began to take too much profit, and that led to the development of the first pipeline, which was very small but laid early on the principle that the cheapest way to transport oil long distances is via pipeline. You can see from some of the photos the early derricks. Down in the bottom photo, you see the barrels. Why do we talk about oil in terms of barrels and not gallons? Well, because what did they first put it in? Whiskey barrels, and that was the easy way to count it. How many barrels do you have on this wagon? And you can see a little bit of the pipeline as they went into the vats. You see that the financial markets also quickly developed in the sense that they already talked about the spot price of oil, which is a term that we use today, and the futures sorts of markets. We also saw from the very beginning, the wild swings in price. In 1861 alone, the price was as high as $10 a barrel and as low as 10 cents a barrel. So again, the thing I want you to walk out is I gave you some key names and events and facts on that first slide, but I'm going to ask you on the exam, tell me some things that happened in the first 10 years that set the tone for how the industry is even until today. Well, as an aside, the United States wasn't the only place where oil discoveries were happening. The first outside the United States discovery is credited as being in Baku, Russia. And believe it or not, it was funded by the Nobel family. What most people don't know about the Nobel family is that their main business was dynamite. We think Nobel Peace Prize, dynamite family. Well, also an oil family. And you can see they had great success as well. Returning back to the United States, though, like I said, a very chaotic market that the first chapter of the prize talked about, and a person that was very bothered by all the waste in the energy industry was John D. Rockefeller, and he launched the Standard Oil Company. You see that he the Standard Oil Company set the standard for a lot of modern corporations in a lot of ways. Interestingly, where did Standard Oil focus? It was in the downstream business, in refining. And if you think about it, you can control the industry from any number of points. They chose to control it from the refining business because ultimately oil only has a market after it's refined. So if a refiner refuses to buy your oil, then there's no market for it. If a refuser refuses to buy the oil, there's no sense in transporting it. So they tried to control the industry from that refinery standpoint. And part of what they were trying to do was inject some discipline, stabilize prices. One way to stabilize prices is to stabilize what you're willing to pay for it, and then that will also control the amount of exploration and production that goes on, because there's no sense in producing a bunch knowing that you're not going to be able to sell it. So even though Standard Oil did a lot of bad things in the market, the very beginning idea, this idea of wastage, you're going to see is something that even today the industry struggles with. And he tried to take that out. What was their core competence? Business, and specifically business in the refining market. They were also very hardball negotiators, and some would say very dirty negotiators in the midstream business, and through that they were able to control the upstream business as well. Now in 1911, Standard Oil was ruled a monopoly by the Supreme Court, and it was broken apart. The thing I want you to see is that a lot of the names that we talk about, even today in the oil industry, you see on that chart. So you see where they came from. They came from the Standard Oil Company and John D. Rockefeller. Now, we're going to segue and look at the Texas oil industry and how that changed things in the next video.